Joker is directed by Todd Phillips, a director who hasn't had the best record in terms of directing. And leading up to the film, I was very nervous, as DC hasn't actually had the best time in the last 6 years. I was on their side as a naive little DC fanboy, but now that I'm a big boy, I've come to the realization that some of DCEU films, or whatever they're calling it now, they aren't as great as I was led to believe. Now, I do like Batman v Superman, up until Doomsday shows up, but DC seem to be following Marvel's footsteps too much, and they've made very doo-doo villains, and DC's Rogue Gallery are far more better than Marvel's, in my opinion. But this was interesting, an origin villain story. It has been done before, and for the most part, it was okay.
Liar!
So, Joker is inspired by Taxi Driver and a list of other films, and in my Ad Astra review I said something along the lines of Hollywood copying giant titles and replacing it with something else, and that tends to be one of the criticisms of this film, and I honestly disagree with it. This film pays homages. It has its own characters and a different story. It isn't a carbon copy, it isn't copy-paste. It is a love letter from Phillips in a way. It's saying, I like this theme, I would like to have my say, and I would like to present my story within the context of Joker. Even Todd Phillips himself has said he wanted it to feel like it came out in 1979. He didn't want to just steal it. He didn't want to just make a carbon copy. And some reviewers are saying that he was lazy, and I could really tell Phillips was actually trying with this film. And one of my issues with the criticisms surrounding this film is that some people have completely missed the mark. They expected it to be an action film, because, you know, the last 12 years every superhero film has been all action. This is a character piece, and I'm pretty sure this was presented in the trailers as well.
But I don't think it was like a good DC.
Joe, why don't you go first? It looked like Alex is mulling it over.
Yeah, I mean, this one's really difficult. And so, like, I know where I want to... If you're like, this is a DC film, where do you rate this in the DC universe? It's pretty low. Because I don't think that it fits.
At times, like I said, I forgot.
I don't feel that they did a very good job linking it to it. I don't buy... Like, I don't want to see any more of this.
But I just don't... I don't think it needs to be linked into the DCEU for it to be a good film.
So, after my second viewing, I do have a few little issues with the film. No film is perfect, I'm afraid, no matter how much I want it to be. But I feel like some of these issues could actually be overlooked with some theories about this film. So, there are a few continuity errors that I noticed. Recently with film, I haven't really been eagle-eyed to really notice any continuity errors, but with this film it's kind of really noticeable. But with a few theories you can kind of bypass that error, and it's a kind of a cool one. If you want to skip to this time, if you want to avoid the spoilers, then that would be great. So many people are theorizing that the Joker made up some segments in the film, or maybe the whole film. I wouldn't like to imagine that he made up the entire story, because that would be a bit of a waste of time. And obviously, when you're trying to recollect some memories or trying to add something in there, you're not gonna know it. You're not gonna know every single detail, are you? Because in some shots, he has a cigarette in his hand or in his mouth, and then in the next shot, it's probably gone, and then it'll be back again after. It's kind of weird. The death of the Waynes just feel just really out of place, to be honest. I was kind of hoping that that Joker would actually go and kill them. I know it was already in the Batman 1989, but it would have made more sense, because the whole entire film is on the perspective of Arthur/Joker. So it just felt really weird that we're all of a sudden switching from someone else's perspective, you know? That's why I felt like it might have been a lot better if Joker actually kills the Waynes instead. And it feels like a bit of a reshoot as well. I don't know why, but it just feels really out of place. And that's pretty much it. I swear to God Almighty himself, if Phoenix doesn't even get a nomination for the Academy Awards or the Oscars, I'm going to lose all my faith in them. I mean, they gave Black Panther 3 Oscars.
The real question is, what are those?
And they screwed up Moonlight and La La Land announcement. And just in general, the Oscars have been recently very, very underwhelming. This is one of the best performances I have ever seen. This is one of the best performances to date. I even think it's my favourite adaptation of the Joker, and it's a shame. I'm not going to see this develop because Phoenix doesn't want to do more. This performance is just breathtaking. I just don't know where to start. I've never seen something so emotional and heart-gripping. This journey was so enthralling, and I just couldn't believe how much effort was actually put into it. Again, it was not lazy at all. He really does carry this film. But when I say that, I mean it in a good way, because the film is literally on him. We don't cut away to anyone else. That's what I mean. He carries this film. It is 2 hours of just him. And it's great. The cinematography is outstanding, probably on par with Ad Astra and probably the best shot film of all year. Every shot was masterful, and it pains me to see a lot of negative reviews don't see this as a plus. Out of all the negative reviews I've read, they haven't even credited the cinematography in this film, and it just really, really annoys me that you can't take positives away from a film that, sure, you might not like, but you can't credit anything positively. The score is absolutely incredible. One of the best of all time. It's emotional, it's dramatic, and it makes some scenes even more terrifying. Even though the other actors aren't really in the film that much, they do a really good job, but I'm obviously not going to praise them so much, as they're only in the film for a little bit of time. I was grateful that this wasn't one of De Niro's paycheck roles. He actually acts like an asshole host, and not act as Robert De Niro. Honestly, this film was so unpredictable. There were a few things that some people predicted, and I didn't know. So it might just be a few things, you know. And that's what it should be. The Joker is an unpredictable character. I really didn't know what was going to happen step by step. There's a scene that involves Arthur locking a door, and you just know something's going to happen, but you don't know how step by step. It's kind of terrifying, but brilliant at the same time. I would even give bonus points, so to speak, for how well they managed the marketing for the film, the posters, the only 2 trailers, and just how well they kept stuff a secret. It was just so great that they didn't have to reveal everything. I can't stress enough how many films reveal the entire film in a trailer. Especially, I think it was 2 weeks after the release of Endgame. They show Tony Stark with the fucking Infinity Gauntlet in his hand, and he snaps it. I don't know why they did that. It was so fucking stupid of them. In fact, I've stopped watching trailers for highly anticipated films. I did watch the Joker trailers though, because I just had to see them. I praise Todd Phillips' direction in this film. He really did try, and for that I can say Todd Phillips has made a masterpiece of a film. I hope in time people come to realise how great this film really is, because some people and fans have completely missed the mark. I mean, if you say that this doesn't feel like a DC film, that's good. I really don't know. How is that a negative? I'm sorry, but that doesn't make sense. This review was so difficult to make because there's a lot of spoiler material in this film. Overall, guys, I honestly give Joker a 10 out of 10. Over time, it might drop down to 9.5 out of 10 because there may be things I might be a bit meh. I hope this film remains in the top 100 movies on IMDb, but it probably won't. And that's a bit sad. I will make the remaining Dark Knight reviews this month. I just didn't know the film was going to be that good, to be quite honest. So I will make them sometime, as well as a Halloween review as well, since it's October. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.